All right, I'm back in the book of Job. We're in the third chapter of reading Job. I hope you've been following along up to this point. So let's do it. Chapter 3. After this, opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. And Job spake and said, let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, there is a man child conceived. Wow, let's stop right there. So, if you've been following up to this point, we know that Job was one of the wealthiest. He was the wealthiest man of the East. We know that he had 7 sons and 3 daughters. We also know that he had, correct me if I'm wrong, 7,000 sheep. He had it all. Job had it all. Job had it all. Job had it all. So let's do a rundown of Job again. If you haven't been following along up to this point. So Job was a very blessed man. He was perfect and upright in God's sight. He avoided evil and sinful behavior. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 female donkeys. A very great household. He was the greatest of all men in the East. Job rose early every morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of his children because of their sinful behavior. Eventually, Job ended up with nothing. The enemy came in and, you know, the Lord put Job in Satan's hands, but told Satan to save his life. Satan left the presence of the Lord with Job, gave Job sore boils, um, and did numerous of things to Job. Took everything from Job and was torturing Job. Job sat at the ashes of his burnt belongings, and his wife asked him, um, do you still have integrity? Curse God and die. His wife said that to him. So first his wife was getting to him. Job then says to his wife, you're speaking as one of the foolish women speaketh. You're speaking like the foolish women. And, he's like, what? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? And all this did not Job sin with his lips. He still didn't sin after his house, his belongings burnt down. His children had perished in the fire, and all of his cattle had been, taken away. And so Job's friends heard what happened to him. They left their own homes and places to come and mourn with Job to comfort him. And Job was with so much grief that his friends sat with him 7 days and 7 nights without saying a word. All right? That's what happened to Job. Now we're in chapter 3 of Job. And Job, Job, he curses the current day he's in by saying, let the day perish wherein I was born. So Job wishes he was never born. That's really tough. At first, he didn't, he was a perfect man, and the Lord put him in Satan's hands. So now Satan has control of Job. So Job curses the day he was born. Job wishes he was never born. Wow. Can anybody relate to this message? Let's continue. And he says, let the day perish wherein I was born. So he pretty much says, the day I was born, I wish that day never happened. And the night in which it was said, there is a man child conceived. Oh my goodness. So he not only did he curse the day that he was born, but he says that um the night that he was conceived, there's a man child conceived. He wanted that day perish as well. It says, let that day be darkness. Let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it. Let darkness and the shadow of death stain it. Let a cloud dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. This is Satan terrifying. This is Satan torturing Job. Wow. He's torturing his mind. So Satan tortures Job's mind. He's trying to corrupt Job. But remember, God said, I'm gonna give you Job, but you can't kill him, basically. So this is this is deep. Um, let's continue. As for that night, let darkness seize upon it. Let it not be joined unto the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Lo, let that night be solitary. Let no joyful voice come therein. Let them curse it that curse the day, who are ready to raise up their mourning. Let the stars of the twilight thereof be dark. Let it look for light, but have none. Neither let it see the dawning of the day. Oh my goodness. So Satan is mutilating, he's trying to mutilate Job's whole existence. But God has all the power. God literally put Job in Satan's hands and said, do not kill Job. Save his life. Save his life, meaning you have no control over his life. I have control of his life. This is what God is doing. So let's continue. Because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid sorrow from mine eyes. Why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? Why did the knees prevent me? Or why the breast that I should suck? For now should I have lean, for now should I have leaned still and been quiet. I should have slept, then had I been at rest, with kings and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves, or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as a hidden, untimely birth I had not been, as infants which never saw light. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul, which long for death, but it cometh not, and dig for it more than for hid treasures, which rejoice exceedingly, and are glad when they can find the grave. Why is light given to a man whose way is hid, and whom God hath hedged in? For my sighing cometh before I eat, and my roarings are poured out like the waters. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came. Mm. That is mm. Now in 3:21 it says, which long for death, wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul. So you ever feel like, there's bitterness in your life, in your soul, bitterness in your soul. Um, as humans, me personally, I've felt that before. I've felt bitterness and I've been bitter. And in my bitterness, I knew I was bitter, and I would just, I would curse everything, being bitter, because if you're bitter, then nothing's, it seems like nothing's going well for you. It seems like nothing's, shaking for you. It's like, why am I here? And it says, wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul. So like, and look, I'm living life now. I was once bitter. I'm living life in a happy state now. You know? Um, let's continue. Which long for death, but it cometh not, and dig for it more than for hid treasures, which rejoice exceedingly, and are glad when they can find the grave? Question mark. Why is light given to a man whose way is hid, and whom God hath hedged in? So light is given to men whose ways are hid. Mm. For my sighing cometh before I eat, and my roarings are poured out like the waters. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, but yet trouble came. Mm. Wow. So this is, again, that's Satan again messing with Job's mind. He's saying, uh, so Job is saying, well, this is Satan controlling Job. He's sighing before he eats. He's like, like, he's basically like in dread, like he's not enjoying the days because, he lost everything. Wow. So for the thing which I greatly feared has come upon me. Like Job feared, this is the enemy playing with his mind. This is Satan having control of him. Let's not forget that. And you know, he's saying the thing which I greatly feared has come upon me. Whenever we have those feelings of, oh man, this is my worst fear. This is, I didn't want this to happen to me. Why me? Why me? Why me? That's just God using you in a season. You know, it's a battle. It's a spiritual battle you're dealing with. If you ever felt these feelings before, it's a spiritual battle. I've felt these feelings, um and it was tough. It was tough being in that season of battling, because it's a literal battle. It's like you're fighting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's really tough. Wow. So he's sighing before he eats. He's like, you know, the days are dreading and stuff, and said, and that which I was afraid of has come unto me. His worst fears had come. You know what I'm saying? Had come upon him, and this is God testing Job's heart, and which it says Job was a perfect and upright man, so Job had to fall all the way down, and the devil took over Job, over Job's mind, and he got into his mind, and tried to speak evil over Job's life. Wow. But hey, God has the last say, and we'll continue with chapter 4 um in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Peace, love, and blessings. And remember, I'm gonna end it on a good note. I'm gonna end this on a good note. Anytime you have these thoughts in your mind that are negative, that's not God. Let's be real. It's not God. It may be God letting the enemy use you for a season so that you can see, your greater come. And when your greater comes, you'll be more grateful for it. You will cherish it more. You would know who to give thanks to when you receive your greater. Um, so like in those miserable seasons that we have as humans, we have to remember God has the last say, and no matter where we are today, we can be in triumph tomorrow. Just like that. God has the last say. Always remember that. You're one of God's people, you're gonna be taken care of. You're gonna go through some things. You're gonna go through a lot. You're gonna go through a lot. Being one of God's people, you're gonna go through a lot. Especially being in this world, because we are not of this world. We are just in this world. We're not of this world. So you're one of God's people, you're gonna go through it. Get used to it. Cause it's gonna happen. There's no running from it. I don't care. You know, you're gonna go through it. You're gonna get it. Watch what you say. Watch the company you keep. Watch the things that you watch. More importantly, watch who watches you. Because you don't know anyone's true intentions until you know. And sometimes it's too late. You know, I've had some people in my life pass away from uh, violence, and it was terrible. But in the midst of that violence, after that violence had taken place, it had brought things together. Sometimes things have to turn for the worse in order for things to get better. Moral of the story. I hope you guys got something out this lesson. I'm gonna cover chapter 4 of Job tomorrow. I'll cover chapter 4 tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Remember, God has the last say. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. I've had thoughts, man. I've had thoughts of harming myself. I've checked into mental institutes, gotten help, worked through my problems internally, got out. Things were still hard. I fought, and God has the victory. I no longer will say I have the victory. God has the victory. And he's the reason. God is the reason that I am where I am, in my mental state. God is the reason that I can help others. God is the reason you know, that I can see things the way that the creator always wanted me to see things. And it took me a while to get here, but I got here. And I'm just so grateful that I got here. You know, um, I am. I just, I've always wanted to be. I've always wanted to be known. I've always had this longing to be, just to be seen and known. And God showed me something one day that made me not want to be. He showed me something one day that made me want to be invisible. And the moment I felt like that, God showered me with everything that I ever dreamed of, and I didn't even know it was. I was being showered with everything I was being, that I've ever dreamed of, because it didn't happen the way that I thought it would happen. And that's the thing. He's gonna give you what you asked for, but it may not be the way that you want it to happen. He's gonna give it to you, but it's up to you to see the blessing. Mm. It's up to you to see the blessing. Mm. And one thing I always learned, I said, I don't want to be a lesson, but in this season I was a lesson. I'm sure others have learned off of me, from where I'm from, and I hope they did at least. Uh, but boy, yeah, I like to learn from others. I don't want to, I'm like, my goodness, but hey, if you want to be one of God's strongest soldiers, you're gonna go through the toughest battles, and you know, you're one of God's people. You're gonna come out unscathed. Like, God is so good. He kept me. He kept me. He's keeping me. He's kept me, and it's just amazing. I hope the same happens for you. As a matter of fact, it will happen for you. All you have to do is have faith, give yourself to God, and surrender. Okay, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. Um, and guard your mind. Protect your peace. Set boundaries. You have to do these things if you want to live a fulfilling, prosperous existence. I would say life. I at this point I just say existence. Cause it's not my life. This is God's existence. I'm just a vessel. And yeah, I hope you guys learned something from this video. I'll be back with more. Stay tuned. I love you all. Peace, love, and blessings. And always keep your weapon. Always keep your weapon. I love you all. Peace, love, and blessings. I hope y'all got something out of this. All right, and I'll be back with more. So y'all stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Woo!